If we rush to judgment here, the results will be irreparable across this state. You know, the myth that what we're doing here is to reform the so-called Rockefeller drug laws, I think has been dispelled very well by my colleagues, Senator Volker, Senator Padovan, and others who have spoken. It is a myth. It is untruthful to tell the people of this state that the laws we seek to amend today are the same ones which were enacted in 1973. We all know that that is not true. We all know that there have been improvements to those laws which were made by this legislature to reflect the realities of the times. Senator Schneiderman, through you, Madam President, I would join you. Members of this side of the aisle would join you gladly to further make improvements that are responsible and reasonable, that would try to address the situation that Senator Spada brought up. But again, we don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. There was talk of these drug laws that we have on the books as being a pandering to the public fear. We ought not pander to any special interest. We ought not, likewise, not pander to a slogan. And that's what seems to be happening here. I see the pins drop the rock. I see them worn by people who are too young to remember the times when our streets and our neighborhoods and our corners were owned by ruthless drug dealers who peddled death. But let's not forget where those public fears came from. They came from the reality of a problem that is real. You know, I grew up in Staten Island. Very fortunate, very blessed to grow up there with a loving family. I had the privilege of serving under Robert Morgenthau in the Manhattan DA's office in Manhattan. I had the opportunity to represent the people, prosecuting hundreds and thousands of cases. I remember once going to a crime scene. It was a public housing complex. I'd never been to one before. And what I saw there were hundreds of some of the most decent, law-abiding, salt-of-the-earth people you can ever meet. Many of whom told me that they were being held hostage by a few ruthless thugs. Ruthless thugs who were involved in a business, the business of selling drugs. Why would we want a chance, going back to the days when we turned over the keys to our neighborhoods, where we allowed a few to hold the many hostage? Why would we want to chance doing that? What if the 62 district attorneys across the state are right and you're wrong? What if law enforcement, folks like Commissioner Kelly in the city of New York, is right and you're wrong? What if the millions of folks across the state of New York who say we want our streets kept safe from these drug lords are right and you're wrong? Then what? What do we say? What do we do? What could we do at that point? It will take decades, if we are wrong, to clean up in the aftermath of the death and carnage and lost lives that will result if you are wrong, and all those folks are right. You know, we talk about economics in this budget. This is a plea. This is a personal plea on behalf of my kids back home, on behalf of the people of this state of New York. Take this out of this budget. Let's come together. Let's work together. We'll come back with a better piece of legislation, I promise you. Let's not rush to judgment. Let's not do, as District Attorney Dan Donovan has said, push this through only to regret for the rest of our lives the results before the ink is dry. Madam President, I vote no.